Hi, my name is Courtney Bentley, and I'm a literacy consultant and dyslexia specialist at Keystone AEA. This is just a very simple and informal video I'm making for several teachers who have asked, either through taking a structured literacy course that we've provided here at Keystone, or getting going in small group instruction or working with kiddos who are at that elementary level, who are coming back to the table with the teacher to start to learn to read at those early stages, who are learning to crack the code, who are actually learning to read words and are figuring out how our language works. This is really geared more toward maybe kindergarten, first grade through maybe third grade. And what we've been doing in our classes is talking a lot about what instruction looks like, what good evidence-based practices are, but then teachers are also saying, how do you actually set up your space to make it efficient, to make sure you have everything you need, and to make sure that you're not wasting time. So this is just a quick video to show kind of how we as a team have created our space when kids come in front of us. This is not the magic bullet. There's different ways to do this, but some tips and tricks of what I found to work really well for me. The first thing is that I have a table, which is what the computer is sitting on, where all the students can gather around me. And I have a rolling chair because I have my cabinet of books. I have a shelf here where I may need to roll over and grab some things if I'm seeing that a certain student needs something different than what I planned for. And then I always have this rolling cart right next to me with everything that I typically need within a lesson. My students know that they can take the things from the very top if they need to, or the very bottom, which is where I have their dry erase boards, their markers, and their erasers. But the thing in the middle, the shelf in the middle, is me. Those are my teacher supplies. And the shelf is my teacher supplies. So they either need to ask permission to grab something off of that shelf, or it's a leave alone space. So the things on my top shelf that students may need through just doing lots of different things to keep it novel and fun. We have regular pencils with erasers, but we also have colored pencils. Some of them have erasers and some of them don't, because in some places where we're doing activities, I say, if you make a mistake, just put one line through it and then keep going, so that I can come back and see later what mistakes they were making and they weren't erased where I can't see them anymore. We don't want to delay instruction with kids saying, I forgot my pencil, I forgot my notebook, I forgot this or that. If they've forgotten something, I have what they need here. So there's no reason to have to waste time running to your locker, running to your desk. Everything should be here. Sometimes we use red pens, sometimes we use blue pens, sometimes I give them the choice of pens. We use lots and lots of sticky notes as we're learning together. So I have various colors of sticky notes that we sometimes mark things up. Sometimes when I want students to remember a word or a particular skill that we're working on in one of our permanent books that we're using, but I don't want them to permanently mark it, I have bought, this is removable highlighting tape, where you can put that on the book, that it stands out for the student. You can remove it later and it won't permanently ruin the books forever by being marked up by marker. So those are the kinds of things that are on the top. I also teach explicitly the sounds, and there's lots of different materials that are out there. For me, I use a card pack. For some of my students, we're still working on the basic sounds of, just some simple digraphs and just vowel teams and those things, that is always here ready to go, so that my students know that they're going to see similar materials every day. That's what I use when we're building words or they're practicing their sounds. I also work with older students who are working on more complex prefixes and suffixes and roots. So I have my card pack ready to go for pulling that out and saying, we're learning this sound, or we're learning this word part today. So this is always here ready to go. If you have multiple groups, you might have multiple packs, or maybe rubber banded packs that are for different groups that are moving through your room. My bottom shelf has the dry erase boards and the markers all ready to go. The kids come over and grab them as soon as they come to the table, so that we can get moving. The middle shelf, I make sure I always have the particular group stuff ready to go. I put the group that's coming to me next in that shelf, and then I have the other groups at the back. And then as groups sort of rotate through, I put that little pile away, and then I bring the new group out. Some teachers keep them in cabinets or in file drawers to keep them separate, so you can keep them organized. But that's how I've been moving them around. Every student who comes to me, I like to keep their own book so that I can look at it later and then also capture how they're responding over the course of a year. Is their handwriting improving? Is their spelling improving? Do they know way more sounds than they did a week or a month ago? So that we have that here, that they all have that right away when we start. I like to make sure that every lesson we start at reading a thing and then writing a thing, reading a thing and writing a thing. Typically a lesson will start more at the word or sound level, where we read and look at sounds, hear sounds, and then we write sounds and do some spelling, all the way up to phrases and sentence levels. And then I really try to work in every single lesson, if I can, an authentic reading or writing experience. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So all of these things, they have this ready to go. We have our dry erase board for them. It's really important to keep kids engaged and using different materials that are easy accessible, so that you keep their brains on with us. I have my index cards. I use tons of index cards with the words I want them to read for the day. They're learning the DGE ending. And then they will be taking turns reading phrases and sentences with that same skill. And then we'll be working our way all the way up to reading a short passage with that. And then with that, they're going to be spelling some words by sounding them, taking the sounds and mapping them out and writing those words, so that they're not just reading, but they're also writing. And then toward the end of the lesson, I have it ready to go so that I don't have to go searching for it. Some sort of reading experience or writing experience. In this case, it's an actual story that has rich context, a story that actually has a plot, so that they see how it all comes together. I have it marked out so that I know that I'm not going to get through the whole story in a day, but we're going to get through a few pages where it's something that I think these kids will be engaged in. It's a skill that they're specifically working on. So this passage has been chosen that's more controlled, that will fit the phonics that they know and can handle and read successfully with just a little bit of support. So they actually see how all these skills come together to actually read something in life. So that is what that middle shelf contains for that one group. The other things that are at my fingertips that I can just roll over and grab that you may want to consider organizing in your little world. I can easily grab mirrors if I have students who are having trouble like articulating a sound, or they're getting maybe the f versus the th mixed up. They need to see what their mouths, their lips, their tongue is doing. This is an easy thing to do, to say, now you're seeing what I'm doing with my mouth. Now I want you to look at your mouth. That sometimes really helps kids to internalize that. I always have tons of pads of paper and extra sticky notes. If a kiddo is not hearing the sounds or the scene, getting the spellings, or we just need to mix things up a little bit. This one happens to be from Really Great Reading, where all of the letter tiles are here and we can build the words on the magnetic board. But you can do something as simple as get a metal tray that's magnetized, and I have some letters here. There's magnetic letters down there as well that you can quick grab and say, you know what, let's slow down and take a look at this a little bit different. So that's all there. I have kiddos who need a little bit extra motivation, and we have some behavior plans. And so some kids need to show me some effort, and if we work a certain amount of time, or they give me some really great learning time where we focus and persevere, I have those always at my fingertips, as well as just other manipulative sentence strips, those kinds of things there, as well as books around the room for my next lesson ready to go. Or if we finish up a story sooner than I anticipated, I can quickly grab those. Nothing super, super fancy. I feel like teachers just need to live with the basics, and you can see, it's kind of hard to see in here with where the angle is. I don't have a ton of fancy billboards or crazy amounts of color and wild things. As kids learn new skills, we put things up to remind them and help anchor that. It's the beginning of the school year right now, so I'm starting clean with where they're starting. So those are just some things to think about as far as what maybe materials you want at your fingertips, what materials you want at the ready, just in case you need to respond to what you see. And then, as always, right here I have it. My lesson plan is right here by my side. And I have a place on the right where if I notice a student doing something, I make note of it so that tomorrow I can adjust my lesson a little bit and address it. Or they really got something and something clicked, so that I remember that we can reinforce it and move on so that we can keep clicking. So hopefully this helps just a little bit to put in your head maybe some materials or organization or things that you didn't originally think about. But if you see this video and you have other ideas, questions about something else that you didn't see, or if you want to contribute to, sort of just this generation of ideas and thoughts about, hey, you should do this too, because I'm a teacher and this really worked for me. On behalf of Keystone AEA, thanks for all you do for kids, and thanks for watching.